the response to Sandy in a way that's really effective. I want to thank the local officials who are here, the legislators and the freeholders as well. They're, especially in places like Monmouth and Ocean counties, we have gotten very close over the last 16 months. And that happens for two reasons. One, spend a lot of time with each other, but two, when you go through a crisis together and you realize that it's up to us together to try to help people through that crisis, you learn about each other pretty quickly. And what I can tell you about the people that you've elected here in Monmouth County, Republicans and Democrats both, they have been there for you. Regardless of party, they have stood up and been there for you and worked hard for you and done a good job for you. And so I want to thank them for doing what they do, because they've helped to make my job easier. Lastly is this. I want you all to know that I really, really appreciate the sense of support that I get from so many people around the state to deal with some of the really difficult issues that we have to deal with when you're governor. When you elect a governor, you never know what's going to come across his or her desk. Believe me, when I was elected in 2009, I never thought I would be like the weather governor. I mean, it's pretty much the first 4 years I've been the weather governor. It's been blizzards, snowstorms, 3 feet of snow one day, 1.5 feet the next, 500,000 tons of salt that we've used already this winter compared to last winter when we used 225,000 tons of salt, 2 hurricanes, 4 nor'easters, and 30 plus declarations of a state of emergency in 4 years. I didn't think that's what I was signing up for. Point is, when you become governor, you never know what you're signing up for, except for this, that you owe everybody every day your honesty and your best effort. And that's what I try to bring to you every day. I know that there are plenty of people, some here, some outside of here, who don't agree with everything I do. And if you're looking for the perfect candidate to vote for any one of these jobs, I suggest you go home and look in the mirror. You are the only person that you agree with all the time. You're it. You are it. You're the only person you agree with all the time. So the great thing about what's happened in New Jersey over the last 4.5 years between us has been that I know there's sometimes I say things that you don't agree with, and I'm sure that you shake your head over. There's certainly things I've done that you don't agree with, but in the end, the support that I've felt from people has been that you believe, I think, in the main, that I'm doing my best. And I'm trying to work as hard as I can for you. And what I can also tell you is that despite some of the difficulties and challenges that you get confronted with in this job, there isn't a day that I don't get out of bed and want to come to work. There isn't a day that I don't feel so incredibly privileged for the opportunity you've now given me twice. And you know, my mom never went to college, graduated from high school, spent the rest of her life working and raising a family, grew up in the city of Newark and lived there for a good part of her life. My dad, the same way, grew up in Newark, went and served in the Army during the Korean War, came home, and worked at the Breyers ice cream plant in Newark. And he worked on the line at the Breyers ice cream plant, and he worked next to an older guy who was in his 50s. Of course, I think that's young now. But my dad, who was 21 years old at the time, 22, worked next to this guy. And they used to talk because they worked next to each other. And the guy said to him, "What are you going to do with your life?" And my father said, "I like this job. This is a good job. Pays well. Like ice cream. It's like a good job, you know?" And the guy said, "You're too smart to work here the rest of your life. Don't you do that. Go to college. Go to college. You just graduated. You just got out of the Army. You have the VA bill that allows you to get some of your college paid for. Go to college at night. Work here during the day. Go to college at night." See, my grandfather had already passed away, and he didn't have somebody to give him this advice anymore. And so he listened to that guy. And he went and he signed up down at Rutgers in Newark. And over the next 6 years, he went to school at night and got his degree in accounting. And our first family picture is my father's graduation from Rutgers. in June of 1962. It was my mother and father with my mom 5 months pregnant with me. And I remember seeing the look on my parents' face, and I still have that picture that day. They had the hugest smiles on their faces because neither one of them ever thought he would get there. He was the first person in his family ever to go to college. No one in my mother's family had ever gone to college until me. And that's who they were. They were regular working class folks in this state who believed that if they worked really hard that they could make it better for their 3 kids that they eventually had, me and my brother and my sister. And they did. And if my mom, who passed away 10 years ago this spring, if she were here to see this circus that my life has become, I mean, she just wouldn't believe it. And it's a great story, not because it's me, but because it could be anybody here. It could be anybody here. That's how great this state is. That somebody who came from a dad who went to school at night and worked at the Breyers ice cream plant, and a mom who graduated from Westside High School and never went to college, that their son could be twice elected the governor of the state of New Jersey. I know that my dad still has a hard time believing it. Luckily, he's still around and be 81 years old in 3 weeks. And he's getting to see this. And I know that my mom would really be proud. Not just of me, but of you. Because she would say, you gave him a chance. And if she were here, what she'd say to me is, Chris, they trusted you. They trusted you to give the most important job they can give through their vote in this state. And what you owe them in return is your best effort and your honesty every day. And so when I do that, I'm not only thinking about it because it's the obligation I feel in here, I'm thinking about it because I know that's what my mom would expect of me and what my dad does. And so, yeah, there are tough days sometimes. And there are some days where I shake my head and wonder what the hell I was thinking about, getting into this in the first place. But those days pass really quickly. And what stays is the fact that you've trusted me enough to give me the chance to do this. And I appreciate you giving me that chance, and I'll continue to work as hard as I can every day I have this job to do it as best as I possibly can to try to give your kids and your grandkids a better shot like the one that I got. So thanks for coming today. I appreciate it.